Hey, welcome back to Cheaper Jeeper TV, the show that helps you get the most for your money so that you get the most for your Jeep. We saw the episode where we came up with the concept for the Roofwing Awning. We saw an episode where we constructed it. This episode, we are going to deploy the awning in all its configurations, and then we're going to summarize whether or not it was worth it. You be the judge. In our last video, you saw how we constructed this ABS awning system. Here it is mounted to the roof racks with some black ratchet straps. And here is the optional faucet which we installed and will demonstrate later in the video. Another feature of this awning system is that all of the poles and guy wires and pegs all fit within the tube. One way to deploy the awning is to simply unroll it from its housing and then installing poles at each of the corners of the tarp. A slight improvement of this deployment would be to connect the tarp to the roof rack and secure the poles within the roof racks, thereby removing any guy wire hazard. Hence, if you were camping in the Jeep using the Cheaper Jeeper TV sleeping camping platform, then the Jeep would be shaded by the tarp in this configuration, and your entrance and exit from the Jeep will always be sheltered. As far as deployment goes, so far so good, I'd say, especially with this slick deployment without the need of guy wires. Now, let's try and open up the system. The first thing we're going to need to do is to remove the twist ties that are keeping the folded tarp together. And once we've done that, we can now open up the tarp over the back of the Jeep. If required, the tarp could be secured down in this position to block wind if that was the case. Or to have privacy or rig up a shower to wash up before you retire for the night inside your Jeep. Otherwise, using the two remaining conduit pipes that are in the tube, you can secure the tarp, but guy wires will be required in this instance. The height of these pipes can be cut to suit your needs. Using a computer generated inset from our concept video, you can see that our final product has met the mark. Some minor changes are that we couldn't use as large tarp to fit in the tube, and we were able to cantilever some of the tarp, thereby eliminating the need for some guy wires. Now let's test the option of storing water in the tube. I was able to fit 15 liters of water. And upon opening the tap, I was able to have artesian flow for 5.5 minutes. This, I think, is a handy option. It affords some water for washing under pressure, so you always have a nice flow of water. I wouldn't drink from it because the water is in ABS pipe. And now it's time to put our system away. You just take the tarp and fold it back on itself, and then with twist ties, join all the grommets. And then once you've done that, remove any bungee cords that you use to attach the tarp to the poles. And then it's time to roll it up. It would be helpful if you had somebody to help you to keep the tarp even. One handy feature is that the handle even fits in the tube. Then all we have to do is collect the 4 conduit poles that we can store in the tube. I'm just using Velcro straps for now to keep the lid shut. And that's it, it's all put away. So in summary now, was it worth it? Well, let's take a look at our intentions of the design. Was it simple to construct as a DIY using readily accessible parts and tools? Well, the parts and tools were readily accessible, Mind you, the ABS was a little difficult to work with. It could easily be set up and taken down, and it does provide some benefits of the batwing type awnings. It is definitely less expensive at around $135 in relation to those other batwing type awnings that run close to $1,000. And it did incorporate some additional conveniences like having water storage and flexibility of deployment to offer some shelter and privacy. And we did meet all of the challenges of the design except for the fact that the 12-foot by 16-foot tarp, although it could fit in a 4-inch tube, was a little difficult and hard to manage to get it in, and one of the intentions was for it to be easily deployed, so a 12-foot by 9-foot tarp worked best. But stick around for this week's subscriber tip, because we'll learn about some other tarp materials that might work for the larger sizes, but they do also incorporate a larger cost.
So if all that's too much, let's have a look at this week's tip.
Now for some cheaper Jeeper tips.
Okay, in this week's tip, we're going to look at how you can deploy an awning without the need for anything that you construct or a roof rack, for example. But what you do need is some PVC pipe, or what I have here is ABS pipe. You take a length of about 2 inches, cut a little slot down the side of it, and then on the inside, tie a little knot. Let me see if I could position this in the camera so you can see the little knot inside there. Yeah. Little loop. And then you secure it to your Jeep like this. There you go. Now it's secured to the Jeep. So you put about 3 or 4 of these in place in line with the grommets of your tarp and just secure them together. And for just pennies, you're set. And that's this week's tip. Let's move on to our subscribers tip segment.
And now for subscribers tips. Hey Cheaper Jeeper TV, I've had good luck with the AquaQuest tarps. They will be far easier to handle and roll up than the box store style tarps. That's aquaquestwaterproof.com. Signed, WranglerForum.com member. Hey, thank you so much for the tip. Those tarps are definitely pretty nice. I saw them on the website. They start at around $100. For our purposes, the 12-foot by 9-foot tarp that we used was about $750 on sale, and that leaves me more money to buy some other things for camping.
Hey, so that's it for this week's Cheaper Jeeper TV. We're so glad you joined us. We hope you enjoyed this series of the Roofwing Awning segment where we reviewed the concept, construction, and the deployment of the tarp. If you like these videos, please feel free to subscribe for more or give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And to all of you out there, please stay well, be safe, take care.